And yeah, what else did we do? There was a little more progress in Dark Souls 2. We pushed
I loaded in your stream the other day, and I saw you go from the trash intro to gameplay within like 15 seconds.
yes.
And I saw you were in the Shaded Woods, and I just typed in the chat, is he at that part of Dark Souls 2 where you get to the end of the wharf and the end of the Bastille and the end of whatever, like those fucking 4 paths, and all the bosses just stop you at the end of them?
So,
and chat was like, yes, that is exactly where they're at.
that's the place where he was at, but it didn't exactly become that because well, for one, I mean, like, you know, daycare hours, I'm starting gameplay a lot faster than I used to. But for Flex Style Sentry, he called in Lucatiel and a summon and just watched them destroy it. Like, they did all the work.
But that just puts you back in the Bastille.
Then you get put back to the Bastille, exactly. The like, Ruined Sentinels were a wall, and then yeah, we pushed through this time around. When I went back, I kind of forgot what it was like, because I remember the first time playing through, and then I did it again myself, and the second time through when I was going through Scholar, I did that whole Sinner's Rise so quickly that I kind of forgot what changes were happening there. And the actual Lost Sinner is like a joke. It was real. I'm like, I have to go back and see.
They are now. After like the Elden Ring fucking sword gang. No, Lost Sinner is quaint nowadays.
I would love to go back and see what I struggled with about it, because boy, did I just go through that like nothing. And then watching this time around, I was like, I wanted, because, you know, it's a place where you got to summon Lucatiel for the story, and Reggie kind of like, I was like, he's gonna go in, let's see if he can, you know, go in, and then he'll summon on the second one. And he starts swinging at her, and I'm like, oh, she's like dying really easily and not doing much. And I was like, there was no second phase that activates here, huh? You just swing around in the dark and then she just dies, you know? And yeah, I mean, I know post Elden Ring and post all these skills, we just know a lot more now, but it really, I don't know, for some reason in my head it was like a wall at a time, and it really wasn't. It was the approach that was the problem, I guess. But anyway, so that was the where we're at, and then part of that also involved pushing into the area beyond the where the Shaded Woods is, where you unlock your pyromancy girl, and then you go.
I remember that area, the Shaded Wood, like the post Shaded Woods tile set where you find the Scorpion Lady.
Yeah,
I remember when I first got there ages ago, I was like, oh, this level seems really rushed. Like this shit seems slapped together for real.
So I'm gonna look and see how it looks with better lighting, better textures and such. But at least the initial.
I mean, that's gotta help.
Yeah, the initial push up, we kind of were just like seeing a little bit of it, and then I was kind of like, okay, you should probably 180 because there's boss weapons right down the road. You know, there's a Strayed waiting for you, and he's got some good shit. So we kind of did that instead. And yeah, it's, you know, it's going back to DS2, but like, you know, Reggie has watched all of Elden Ring, like, and Elden Ring is every trick they've ever done ever coming back again. So,
you know, I still remember when, you know, that elevator part up to the frozen area, and if you drop off the side, you end up doing the invisible pathway dungeon with the little guys shooting at you from little alcoves, and it's like, this is catacombs plus blight down ambush plus invisible path dungeon. And I'm like, oh, you guys are gonna just run every trick you've ever done, like every single gimmick.
Yeah, it's you're like, I'm just kind of going like, now that we've played Elden Ring, you've seen it all, now you're just going to see it in fragments and pieces, remixed and spread apart across the rest of these games, you know? Um, but they're still working. You know, they're still doing their thing. And not to mention the fact that like build making is weird, and stat things get, you know, things like adaptability and vitality and vigor and all that just being all over the place. And at least this game makes it so that like it's not 100% the same experience. Like it is weird. Okay, there's pyromancy, but like yes, you do need to scale your nerd stats if you want it to be good, even though requirements aren't there.
I don't like that. Pyromancy is the non-nerd magic.
Yeah, should be, except that's what they decided to do. You know?
It's like the thematic purpose of pyromancy is the whole reason it was like important is that you didn't need any special abilities to use it. It was the democratized magic for the common man.
And that works for lore reasons because of the fire and all that. Something I really, now that I'm looking at it, I kind of despise is like the idea that you have a stat that changes something as like subtle as your iframes on
it sucks
on the same animation roll. Seems so just it's there's obtuseness for the sake of like challenge and fun, and that's just a dumb variable mechanic that should be visually more elaborate, or like not, it shouldn't lie to you about what your role looks like and then how invincible it is, right?
I think you and me did not even encounter the biggest problem with adaptability, which is we're people who would either talk to somebody who would know or like look up what the fucking stat does from a nerd that would break it down. I think there's a huge amount of average ass normal people that read like the adaptability / agility stat and went, I don't get it, and then just played the whole game with an absolutely dog shit roll and just went, wow, this just feels way worse to play than Dark Souls 1. Why is the roll so bad?
Not knowing what's up. Yeah. I would say that like with very few exceptions, a different if a roll or a dodge or anything like that is meant to have a different level of invincibility, it should look different and feel different. You know, when you see the fat roll tumble, you go, yeah, of course I don't have iframes on that. Why would I?
I just had this thought that would be really funny, which is, you know what adaptability should have done? It should have made your existing roll take longer.
So
like if your invincibility is every millisecond your character isn't touching the ground, if you jacked it all the way up, it should just be the slowest roll ever where you're just in midair for a second and a half.
So what I was actually saying in the game was like, the way you do this is you make the animation actually like actually stretch out if you need to, you know, if you want to have it be an exact variable from 0 to 100 or whatever, then fine. This is your roll animation, and you are slowly tweaking the whole thing together. And you can still have the you're too fat to roll thing, sure. But ultimately, that would make more sense because at least visually, your brain would understand.
Feel like shit.
Yeah,
it would feel like garbage.
Such an insane thing to do design wise. Anyway.
Your core defensive ability should not be tied to inscrutable statistics. Like,
and then there's stuff where like, yeah, like, okay, because he started swinging, you know, like not sword and board. He started out with power stancing, and then picked up a hammer and a shield, you know, just because it takes stats to get to the power stancing levels.
Oh, is he using the blacksmith hammer?
Yeah.
That thing kicks so much ass
in early game, especially because you're fighting a bunch of armored assholes.
You could carry that thing the whole goddamn way through all of it. Yep. That thing is incredible.
He dropped 2 twinkling on it, so it's +2 now, and it's like, yeah, that thing's really good. And guess what? The struggles against the fucking sentries and the sentinels and anything armored, all of that goes away. You're fighting a bunch of all the Haid Knights. All of that stuff.
I'm just thinking, Ruined Sentinels is a really good example that, like, in a lot of games, when you fight a multi-boss, you do get something that you don't get from other bosses, which is you hit him with a big hit, you see that health bar off of, one of the boss enemies just go, oh, just
crazy
20% off of one swing, and you're like, oh yeah.
The wall was when the sentinels were each like 30 hits to kill, and now they're like 10,
Yeah.
But then the other funny thing is like picking up like the old whip and going, ooh, these numbers are great, 220 damage, let's go. And he walks over to the big boys in the tower, whips at him, and like, they go down nice and quick, and about 3 or 4 of them in, the whip breaks. Because it's like, you're whipping armor, and this thing has dog shit durability. So, one, that's the wrong enemy for this type of weapon. But 2, enjoy dog shit durability, because this game actually made that a thing. And this is just like, throw durability on the list of just like game mechanics that are always bad, never fun. Food going rotten over time.
As a violent anti-consumable guy, I will have a hot take here that is a genuinely hot take. I think maybe, even though I complained about it, the only game I played that had worthwhile weapon durability was Breath of the Wild. Because it was the only game that had durability that I had to actually engage with, instead of just being like an annoying little piece of busy work or something that would actively fuck me at random times. So durability in Dark Souls 2 would fuck you at random.
Yes.
Like you'd be playing the game as normal and your fucking weapon would just explode.
Yes.
And you'd be like, why? Why did it do that?
In Breath of the Wild,
like every other game's durability is just like a money sink, or like a material sink.
Sure, the punishment and the way you deal with the problem is much more forgiving in those games than it is in this one, but yeah, either way, there is like stuff like that. I'm just like,
I still remember them going, look, we fixed the durability bug. And then they showed off like a scenario that did not replicate the durability bug correctly at all. And then the game patch shipped and it still had the bug. And it took all the way to like Scholar of the First Sin to come out for the fucking durability bug in DS2 to get fixed. Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I still, even in the context like Breath of the Wild, I'm still just like, no, I hate this mechanic. This is not fun to me. I don't like, I can deal. Strangely enough, I'm better at handling when my character has a bunch of bullshit that's happening to them. Like if your character is getting hungry, or if your character is getting tired, or you know what I mean, and all these little extra things I can deal with more than my consumables and resources on me all being individually degraded. I would much prefer, like in a Fear and Hunger style world, like I much prefer dealing with my character's own like meters as opposed to my equipment's meters.
So you don't play a shit ton of shooters.
No.
And I remember vividly, because like, so weapon durability, if it's real weapon durability, not just like, you lost 1% over the last hour, is just turning the melee weapon into having ammo.
Yeah, okay.
Right, it's just having pool ammo. It's functionally the same. And I remember when I took a look at clips of you playing Halo, you never integrated, at least from what I saw, the obsessive compulsive need to reload your gun every single second, which tons of people who play shooters do.
No, and the reason why is because I had no reloading discipline or thoughts at all.
Yeah,
I would play games, and when I was out of bullets I would reload, and then a number of people went, dude, that's crazy, you need to stop. And basically they pointed out in one of the first games I was playing, every time you're not in action, reload.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So that's then I just
you want to be prepped up, essentially.
So
that's what durability is, right?
So that's what I internalized, is just like click the button whenever action's not happening. But you're not smithing your weapon every time, you're
And then you have Monster Hunter and Resident Evil 4 remake, where you straight up reload your fucking knife by sharpening it.
Okay, but Monster Hunter feels good because you're making the knife sharper.
Yeah, but also because making the knife sharper in a Monster Hunter fight is this is going to take 10 seconds. Sure. Like I need 10 seconds of safety, and that's 10 seconds of I'm not healing and I'm not doing damage. Like I must maintain it. Like the context matters.
Yeah, but so does the psychological element of like,
absolutely.
I'm sharpening this fucking knife.
the feeling of I'm making sure that it's better versus I'm keeping it from being bad. Like it's just like a psychological trick of like making sure your thing is better feels way better than keeping it from being bad.
I don't know if you remember Ali Sadiq, the comedian who did the Mexicans Got on Boots story, the guy who went to jail. But like he just talking about he's being in prison, and like he's like, okay, people are gonna come for you, so you better get yourself a protection knife. And like there's one point he walks by the cell where the dude is sharpening his knife, and he's just like, ooh, they're sharpening, that's my knife, yeah. My knife gonna be sharp as a motherfucker, you know. And you're just like, there's something about like you're making it better that's like, I don't mind that at all. That's great. But putting
improvement is better than maintenance.
But if I have pieces that I'm like fucking duct taping together, you know,
this is just
horrible.
rested XP but applied to durability, right?
it's totally that. It's totally that. Yes, I am absolutely manipulable. Based on making me feel like I'm going above 100%. Anyway,
like there's a gun in Destiny 2 called the Ace of Spades, and it has a very simple gimmick, and that is for every headshot, it's a 6-bullet revolver, and for every headshot you get with it before you reload, it buffs 1 bullet. So if you get 6 headshots in a row and then reload, you get 6 super powered bullets.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Okay.
And you could have just had a fucking handgun that did more damage.
Yes.
But
instead,
fuck that.
But instead, here you go. Yeah. If you're even gonna do the invisible balance of taking the base weapon swing down, because you're like the advanced swing, the buffed swing is actually what we want the real number to be. Sure, I'll live in that world, you know. But we did, but now we have a world where it breaks and you do 0, right? So
I think Warframe probably has like the best version of like keeping something, improving something over keeping it stable, which is the way they do crits and damage numbers in that game. Just like have like a numerical dopamine effect that's really extreme. So if your damage numbers get high enough in Warframe to keep the screen clean, it goes from 1400, and as soon as you hit like 14,000, it just becomes 14K.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so you want to see that K, but then you have crit, and you can stack crit in that game to completely absurd degrees. So at 100% crit, every hit's a crit, and every hit is yellow. And then at 200%, every crit is a super crit, and it's orange.
Yeah.
And then at 300%, every hit is red.
Yeah.
And so the difference between shooting your regular gun and shooting your gun where it's all gigantic red numbers with 25K, 40K on it is ridiculous.
Shooting a beam at something and watching the white numbers turn yellow to orange to red.
Yeah.
100%. These are all things that make things feel better. Not that that's what fucking FromSoft is trying to do. But
no, in fact, they're trying to obfuscate that to such a degree that it's making it fucking weird.
But as someone said, but bringing up Monster Hunter, I'm like, oh, my brain inverted the formula entirely, and I was like, yeah, sharpen that fucking knife, baby.
It's different because of the context. Writing matters.
It inverted the whole feeling. Anyways.